How did it fascinate you about riding motorcycles?
So one of them had a 350 BSA,
That was in year which year?
1960, 1958.
Okay.
So dad put forward, बेटा तू दिखा दे कि तू इंजीनियरिंग जा सकता है, मैं तेरे को तो बाइक खरीदूंगा. Yes, underestimate इसलिए करते हैं because dime a dozen everybody is riding a bike. So every problem comes with a solution. 74 they did not allow any civilians to go there. The government had only blasted their way through those. Trucks could reach those points. You have all kinds of equipment and gears today to be riding in those conditions. और ज़्यादा ठंड लग गई तो look for surgical gloves. और ठंड लग गई तो raincoat पहन लिया उसके ऊपर. Riding to Ladakh then was a totally different ballgame. From Kuwait they moved into Turkey, from there whole of Africa, and we had ridden right into the Maowadi camp. I told my son, don't look left or right. But that was the scariest part because I didn't know what's going to happen to me next. Very close to the Pakistan-India border, and I can hear AK guns. In the mountains, you lose your sense of direction. Organizing a riders meet is a money-making racket.
उसके एक ticket is 10,000 bucks, 8,000 bucks, 12,000 bucks.
Yes.
There is a hierarchy system in the club.
No, it's not necessary that the leader or the president of the club has to be the lead guy. No. Yes, there's a certain discipline that needs to be maintained when you're riding.
A piece of advice you would give to new riders?
Live to do it again. So you have to be humble. Planning is a very important part of it. Taking decisions in life is a very important thing.
What goes in that mind of that rider कि वो उसके हाथ में वो power है but he is still very calm, stable.
Once you are into the rhythm of the riding, then it is not speed anymore that matters. You see, you are part of a whole system.
I'm sitting today with a person who's been riding जितनी मेरी और आपकी शायद एज भी नहीं हो, उतने सालों से ये राइडिंग कर रहे हैं. इनका नाम है हर्षरूप सेठी जी. इनकी राइडिंग फ्रेटर्निटी पे इन्हें बोलते हैं टोना शेट्टी. How did it fascinate you about riding motorcycles in the first place?
Well, let's put it this way, that I got introduced into it. It was more as an induction by fire. In the sense, I was probably 3 or 4 years old, and my father was as a graduate trainee in Tata Steel, so he had his batchmates living around. So one of them had a 350 BSA. So I used
That
to,
was, sorry to cut, that was in year, which year?
1960, 1958.
Okay. Mhm.
So he came to the house one day, and I was very thrilled by this little this bike, and I just went and grabbed it. When I grabbed it, I enveloped both my hands on the exhaust, and both my palms got burnt. A 4-year-old child. So that was my introduction to automobiles. So people thought I would be scared of it. But then again, I mean, after the bandages and whatever, a few days later, again I went back for the bike. So this time they realized that I liked this thing, so they started giving me rides. Then my father also bought a Vespa, probably the first Vespa in Jamshedpur. Nobody used to buy Vespas in those days because they said it's a one-sided engine, gir jayenge. Okay. So that fascinated me, and I started taking the scooter from his hand whenever he came back from work, and I started rolling it. You know, I wasn't allowed to ride it so that I could get to the weight. So once I got onto the weight, I one day sat on it, gear lag gaya, I started riding it. So that's how I got into the riding mode. But then more importantly, what happened was I got so fascinated by automobiles that there was this one mechanic where the bike used to go. So every summer vacation, 1.5 months holidays, I used to be sitting there. So from probably age of 7 or 8, I went there as those gophers. Go for this, go for that, ye pana lao, wo pana lao. So I started from there. Why I'm saying this? Because it's very important to understand your machine later on when you're talking about riding. So that was the base. I learned how to open the tires. I learned how to change stepneys. I learned ultimately how to work on the carburetor. Okay. So now I was very confident that I could ride and get away. So one such day, on a summer vacation, I told my dad, Ranchi jana hai.
ओके, ये जमशेदपुर से रांची।
Jamshedpur. And those days, it wasn't this
हुँ।
current roads. So I said, "ठीक है, take the Lal Pila bus and you can go." I said, no, scooter se jana hai. So mom got a little hassled. But then dad said, okay, let's hear what he has to say. So he says,
So which age?
I was about 12, 12 and a
Okay.
half, 13.
Okay.
Okay. So I said, I will go on the scooter. So dad said, सुन लो बच्चा क्या बोल रहा है. So he said, okay, you will drive fast. I said, yeah, I'll drive fast. You will overtake buses and trucks. I said, yeah, I will overtake when required. How will you overtake them? So those days you used to have these Mercedes Bedford buses which had the backs raised. तो वो नीचे से मैं देख सकता था as a kid, when I'm behind it. So I told my dad, I'll look through the wheels. If I don't see any vehicle coming in front of me, I'll overtake. Dad didn't say anything. He said, go. So that was the beginning.
A 12-year child allowed.
Yes, allowed by my parents.
And I think Jamshedpur, Ranchi is somewhere like 130, 140 kilometers.
Today, it was more. Earlier, it used to go via Khuti and, it was a different route altogether. It was a smaller single road kind of a thing.
And that time, I guess it was Bihar.
That time it was absolutely Bihar. And the funny part is, I was not worried about anything happening to the scooter because if kuch hoga, theek kar lunga, because I knew how to do it. My biggest worry was petrol na khatam ho jaye. So every 5 minutes I would stop, open up the thing, tel hai na, and I'll carry on forward. So I kept doing that for about an hour and a half. Then I said, tel to khatam nahi ho raha. Then I had the confidence, then I started blasting all the way. So that was the beginning of my mistake. Then the other important thing came was, when I finished school, so dad put forward, बेटा तू दिखा दे कि तू engineering जा सकता है, मैं तेरे को तो bike खरीदूंगा. So that was the kicking start. So when I had my own bike on day one when I went to engineering and I was independent, I didn't have to take permission from anybody. I could slime out and go anywhere I want. So that's where my actual riding started from there when I joined college.
बिहार उन दिनों में बहुत ही वायलेंट और बहुत ही डिस्टर्ब स्टेट माना जाता था.
Put it across like this, Jamshedpur has always been very different from the rest of Bihar. Okay. This is one place which I would still say is paradise as compared to any other part of the country. But more importantly, if I was to ask you a question as to, do you know who are the first riders from India going around the globe?
Around the globe?
Yes. So dad put forward, बेटा तू दिखा दे कि तू engineering जा सकता है, मैं तेरे को तो bike खरीदूंगा. Kuwait, from Kuwait, they moved into Turkey, from there, whole of Africa. Then there was enough, wars and conflicts between different states in Africa. They went through hell through Amazon. They got arrested in Algeria. From there, how they got out of that place, again, thanks to when they saw Indian bikes come crossing the Sahara. So they said, these guys are somebody different and special. So the Algerians left them. From there, they went to Europe. Two of them came back, two continued, and they went up to America, but shipped it. They went through all the 27, 28 states.
So you're talking about these guys who drove
it
all the way
from Jamshedpur. The first team from India that went around the globe was from Jamshedpur. And they were telco employees, 4 of them. Sampuran Singh, Manmohan Singh, Subhash Sharma, and one Mr. Kher.
They took the bike from Jamshedpur. Those
Think
days,
of the resilience. Passports were difficult to get, visas were difficult to get, dollars milte nahi the. Okay. And there was no communication, there was no GPSs, there was a language problem, and there were weather condition problems because here one end is Sahara, the other end is Alps. Okay. They have to go through a lot of kind of rerouting every time, and there's no logistics as such available. So you can imagine the kind of tenacity and the adrenaline flow that is required to make it happen.
yes.
So now if you think of those conditions when one has to do it, what are the kind of characteristics required in a person to be able to complete it? It's phenomenal. Then the second lot is in 75. 6 gentlemen from Tata Steel, 5 from Tata Steel and 1 gentleman who owns a shop. The 6 of them on Yazdis went from Jamshedpur all the way to Europe and they came back. Again, it wasn't easy in those days. You didn't have visas coming in. You didn't have dollars available to them. They had to scrounge. Somehow they managed and they came back. So when you hear stories about these guys, okay, it gives a certain kick. And in fact, when they took off, I was very much there to see them take off. So that was another add-on for me, you know. So that was one thing that it built on me then.
You were like uh,
I was about finishing school by then.
16, 17.
Yeah. So
Oh.
they played a big role in my mind, you know.
राइडिंग को लोग जनरली बहुत अंडर एस्टिमेट करते हैं, राइडर्स को भी बहुत अंडर एस्टिमेट करते हैं। प्लीज मुझे बताइए व्हाट इट टेक्स टू बी अ राइडर।
See, first is you have to have the time. Second, you must have the resources. गाड़ी भी होनी चाहिए, पैसे भी आने चाहिए, चाहे बोरोड पैसे हो, चाहे स्पॉन्सरशिप हो या अपने अपने पैसे हो. And the third thing is the attitude. The larger part is the attitude. When we talk of attitude, the first thing that has to come in is you have to be self-reliant. You can't depend on anybody. That is why I said my build-up was that I first started understanding machines so that I can, you know. Second thing is you have to be very resilient. You have to be resilient because for so many reasons. I mean, one thing is fatigue comes in. Okay. Second, you're driving long hours, you are everything is unknown to you on the path. Kya aayega aage? Around the bend, it can be something. Okay. So you have to be ready for anything and everything as you go.
जिस तरीके से आपने जो बातें बताई कि 4 लोग बिहार से निकले और वो पूरा ऑल द वे दे वेंट टू यूरोप एंड एवरीथिंग एंड दे केम बैक। मैंने ये फ़ील किया कि बहुत लोगों में बहुत मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग है।
Yes, underestimate इसलिए करते हैं because dime a dozen everybody is riding a bike. So think riding a bike is as good as riding in the streets or on the highways. It's not the same thing. First thing, you must have the time. Second thing, you must have the resources, the money. आपका हो या कहीं से भी हो. And the third most important thing is the attitude for it. Now, when you talk about the attitude, the first thing that comes is you must be self-reliant. You can't depend on anybody. आपके बाइक का चेन टूट जाएगा, there's nobody is going to come. You don't do anything, you're not going to move forward. So anything and everything, you are dependent on it. So it starts with you, ends with you. You have to have the resilience. Because a lot of problems come in. Weather conditions change. You are tired, fatigued. You still have to get to a particular place. You cannot just say, अच्छा ठीक है आज के लिए यहाँ रुक जाते हैं when there's no place. Okay, you have to have that resolve to do it and finish the day wherever you have planned. So that is very important. Third thing is you must have the physical fitness because you can't afford to get tired. And it's not just you. You got a bike and you got a whole lot of luggage loaded on you, and particularly if you're in the mountains, you require some energy to ride that bike first. And second thing, as you get tired, you get that mental fatigue and chances of accidents. So it's very important that you can't lose your sharpness at any point in time. Another very important thing is, you know, you have to be a very good planner because you must know where you're going to get to. You must know your bike well. You must know what spares to take. You must know how much of what spares to take. You must know how to load your bike because you cannot just arbitrarily load your bike. It has to be very balanced. You must know what should be loaded where so that what is required as easy access. Okay, when you require it in some kind of emergency. So planning is a very important part of it. And then most of all is you must have that adventure streak in you. You must want to explore things. But when I say that, there's with a bit of a caution here, you know. It's courage with some caution. It's not blind courage and do anything and because you got to come back home. Because one very important thing for me as a rider, which I believe in is live to do it again. That's very important. And the other important thing is, which you had earlier mentioned about, being surprised कि as a 12-year-old parents allowing me to go. ताली दो हाथ से बजती है. The important thing is that you have to build that confidence in your family also. That this guy is rational. He's not going to do irrational things. So that when you go out, they are not worried. Okay. But if you are the kind who is irrational, then I'm sure parents will not allow you also. So that's what it takes.
जब उनके हाथ में थ्रॉटल है कि जब कोई बंदा बाइक पे चल रहा है, तो वो 200-220 की स्पीड में टच कर सकता है बहुत आराम से। और मैंने देखी कि उनकी बाइक पोटेंशियली वो इतनी स्ट्रॉन्ग है भी। मैं बहुत सारे लोगों को जब हाईवे पे देखता हूँ तो वो एक सर्टेन स्पीड पे चलते जाते हैं। किसी को भी मैंने देखा नहीं रैश राइडिंग करते हुए। आप मुझे बताओ व्हाट गोज़ इन दैट माइंड ऑफ दैट राइडर कि वो उसके हाथ में वो पावर है बट ही इज़ स्टिल वेरी काम, स्टेबल।
I think there are two factors here. One is the maturity and the age. That's important because I see youngsters who get into bursts of excitement, adrenaline flow, and that's where the accidents also happen. But largely speaking, जब राइड शुरू करते हैं तो उस समय तो your mind is working on so many things, arbitrary things, first thing is about, okay, where I'm going to end the day, blah, 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 all kind of planning and things that happen. Once you are into the rhythm of the riding, then it is not speed anymore that matters. You see, you are part of a whole system. You, the bike, the nature, all are one. Okay. Unlike car, you are exposed to the environment outside here. So you become part of that nature. That's one. Second thing is that when you are riding, as I said, that you must understand your machine well. You get into a rhythm with the machine. If I was to say now that I find a Vishwakarma in my bike, I can communicate to my bike. The bike tells me when it's not feeling good, don't push me. The bike tells me I'm feeling damn good, push me. Okay, I'm running very smooth. Chala mere ko aur zor se. So, there is a communication that is happening between you and the engine and the revs. So it is not the speed that matters, it's your communication, first of all. Once you get into that mode and you're riding, then it's not the throttle that matters or the speed that matters. Then you're looking at the environment, you're looking at the tire that is going over that road surface. Okay.
हुँ।
There are so many aspects that are coming into your mind that you get into a rhythm with the bike and the system. And that's when you start communicating. Moment you end up riding fast or something, then the stress comes onto you. Okay, then it's no longer a ride. In the sense, let's put it this way, that don't take the ride as a task. Ride the ride. You get what I mean?
हाँ।
Enjoy the ride. Okay. So first thing is you have to be in that rhythm. And for that reason, you are at your pace, which is in rhythm with your bike, its engine, the road conditions, the weather conditions. Okay. I think this is what determines the throttle speed. So I would say that throttle is not something that controls you, but that throttle allows you to come at peace with yourself.
ओके। मुझे कुछ मिसकंसेप्शंस बताओ जो राइडर्स के ऊपर बहुत जनरली आपने सुना हो। क्योंकि आप यू हैव बीन डूइंग राइड ऑलमोस्ट लाइक 50 इयर्स प्लस नाउ। कोई मिसकंसेप्शन आपने यू हैव कम अक्रॉस?
Misconception, I didn't understand your question.
जैसे अपन मूवीज में देखते हैं ना कि बाइक्स की गैंग होती हैं, वो कहीं रुक गए, किसी से लड़ाई हो गई, ऑल द गैंग मेंबर्स कम। ये एक मिसकंसेप्शन जो जनरली टीवीज में
That you're talking
दिखाया जाता
about
है।
the riding fraternity as such. That's what you're talking
कुछ
about.
भी कोई भी मिसकंसेप्शन।
I think that is not true as far as India is concerned. This has been, shown more from the American movies, or actually what happens in America, those hell riders and whatever, they are gangsters, they are rogues, all kinds of things. They also steal, they do everything. Okay. But India, thankfully, we are a very, very different lot. I would say, as riders, as clubs in different towns, I find them to be extremely nationalist and very patriotic. I can give, and a huge amount of brotherhood between them. I can give two very important examples that come into my mind. Sometime in 2012-13, Chinese had walked into the Indian side near Badrinath, और रेड फ्लैग्स उन्होंने लगा दिए थे, and they were on the India side. I wouldn't want to name the government, but I'm sure you understand what I mean. So they all said, "Ha, hoega, karenge," but nothing was happening, and the Chinese had plonked themselves right and proper over there. No action being taken, and I don't know why they were getting scared. Now, what happened was a group of Sardars from Ludhiana and Jalandhar, they came down to that place. They stripped open their shirts, bare-bodied. Okay. Bole sone hal karte hue, they just rode into the Chinese camp. Now, either they get shot. If they get shot, it's going to be in Indian territory, and somebody has to be answerable for that. So the only thing the Chinese could do was just drop things as they were and run across the border. It took only 20 minutes for these Sardar riders to get rid of these guys, just riding into the camp saying Bole Sone Hal. That is it. This is about 12, 14 years back. Another example I'll give you. There was this young rider from Siliguri. Okay, I don't know him. Most of us don't know him. He fell very ill, some gastro issue. Parents were very ordinary people. Whatever monies they had, they'd spent for that guy's treatment, and they could not revive him. They said, Ki, Hyderabad, le jao, there's a gastro hospital over there. Maybe they can do something. No, they didn't have the money. They didn't have the money to take an air ambulance and whatever. So the riders from Siliguri got together. They booked an air-conditioned ambulance with 2 seasoned drivers in that. They said, "We are going to move this kid to Hyderabad." They just had to put it up on our WhatsApp groups. So like a relay, every town, whichever that place had to, that vehicle had to cross. So riders got onto the highway, and like a baton, they took over that ambulance, moved to the one point, the other guys took over from there, moved to the next point. Every toll, okay, they were waiting ki, ha, this car vehicle should get through. When the vehicle was reaching Hyderabad, the riders of Hyderabad, they are very organized, the Hyderabad lot. They had got in touch with the cops over there, and any and every rider, whether Swega bhi uske paas ho, moped ho, whatever, they all came out onto the roads, and they cordoned the road right from the highway entry to the point where this hospital, so that the ambulance can move in straight without any traffic disruptions. So this boy was brought like that. How many hundreds of riders got involved in, the baton to take this guy through? And none of the riders knew this boy. Just because he's a rider, बोल दिया है कि हाँ ऐसा हो रहा है. In brotherhood, we will do it. Today things have become so much easier. It wasn't there earlier. I'm riding, everything happens to me. I put it on the WhatsApp group. 4 riders will come from that side of the town. 4 riders come from the other town. Okay. You have enough help available today. Now, this is a kind of pattern that you see among the Indian riders and the Indian clubs. There is brotherhood, there is a lot of patriotic feeling, there's a lot of nationality. And I can say for sure, at least I've seen some of these Jamshedpur clubs, whenever there's an 15th August or 26th January or any such important day, okay, they're going out and serving the needy in some way or the other, doing something or the other as a group. So I think there's a lot of positivity in that.
I've often seen a lot of these riders, they're single, they're solo riding, and ghanto, what goes through the minds of these riders? Or if I may ask you, अगर आप चला रहे हो, because you have so much of 50 plus of experience, what goes through the mind of a rider?
Okay, I think I'll put it across like this, that there are different phases during the ride within the day.
Is it, sorry, मैं आपको interrupt कर, is it meditation, kind of meditation, या फिर सिर्फ adrenaline है ये?
I would say works both ways.
अच्छा.
Adrenaline, yes, when I'm being challenged about something. For example, you have a thing called Iron Butt. Now you have to do 1000 miles in 24 hours. And in Indian conditions, to do 1000 miles in 24 hours is not easy. Some boys have even died trying it. मतलब कि नींद आ जाती है towards the end. Okay. And it has to be very meticulously planned. So when you're doing something like that, it's an adrenaline flow. But other than that, when I'm saying I'm going out for a ride somewhere, it's not adrenaline flow. It's far more than that. So let me come back to that question which you had put across earlier. See, I would put this ride for the day in 3 parts. When you start the ride, at that time you are getting into a rhythm with the machine. You're getting to, warm your butt, and you're getting out of the city traffic, and you're moving out. So initially, once you are through with that and you are into the ride, so your body's rhythm has yet to come in line with the rhythm of the machine. Till that doesn't happen, you are not in sync with each other. जब तक वो नहीं होता ना, उस समय माइंड में there are a lot of chaotic thoughts that are coming. Arbitrary thoughts, chaotic thoughts, okay? कि मैंने उससे जो लड़ाई की थी, उसका क्या होगा? Certain worries that come into your mind, ये पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे? वो, so you have all kind of chaotic thoughts coming and going, and there's no control over that, and I don't try to control it also. Okay. Essentially, what is happening is, as I see it, is all those thoughts, those worries that are there in your mind, it's like they all, the chassis is stuck in there. Okay, वो release हो रहा है, mind में आ रहा है, जा रहा है, आ रहा है, जा रहा है, and it's all random. Say you've ridden about 2 hours or so, and by this time you've got into a certain rhythm. Then what happens is you start understanding the engine, you get into the rhythm of the bike. Okay, you start hearing the sound of the engine. So you are more in line with the machine and the environment. These thoughts slowly start disappearing.
Hmm.
Once that happens,
Hmm.
not every time, but yes, more often than not, you get into a kind of a trance. And when you're getting into that trance, it's not that you're close. Meditation doesn't mean I'm shutting my eyes and doing it. I'm riding. My sixth sense is working. My clutch is working. My brakes are working. My gear is working. Everything is happening. But that's all sixth sense because of the years of riding that I've done. So this becomes a part of the deal. Now my mind will start wandering into something specific. It could be work related. कि ये काम था, ये इसका मैं solution कैसे निकालूं. Now, when you start doing that, what happens is a lot of thoughts start bubbling into your mind. Okay. It could be relationship building. It could be you have a strained relationship with your wife or with your children or with somebody. You start working at solutions for that. Now, when you're doing this, one good part is there are no distractions. There are no telephone calls coming. There's no internet there. There is nothing around you to say no to you or give you suggestions or their opinions. It's your mind that is working. And when that is happening, what is actually happening at that time is a lot of thoughts are bubbling in your mind. Okay. And as these thoughts are bubbling in your mind, the solutions also start coming in. You start seeing solutions also. So it is more listening to yourself at that time.
Mhm.
And in that process, you also try to figure out, your strengths, your flaws, your weaknesses. Okay. It also, you can go down to thinking, okay, what are the kind of risks in life that I have been taking? Should I be taking a certain kind of risk or not? So you go through a very clear cut thought process without anybody disturbing you. In a way, you are only listening to yourself. And while you do that, you start moderating. Okay, you start finding solutions. You get the solutions. And when you have those solutions in place, what is happening is the ride is actually rewiring me.
Mm.
Okay. So every ride, there is something that happens to me where I get rewired for some particular thing. So it actually helps me improve as a person.
आप मुझे बताओ how has spending so much time on road with your bike, riding for so many long years, how has it changed you personally?
You cannot let go. You cannot decide to walk out of a game. You can't decide to walk out of a situation. You have to make sure that if you've decided to do something, you have to do it and make sure that you do it in good time. So that resilience is very, very important. Second thing is, as I said, you have to be self-dependent. Okay. If anything happens, you are the last buck there. Nothing moves. So, first and foremost, you must be able to have the capability of taking decisions. Taking decisions in life is a very important thing. And that is something which teaches you, is every minute you are taking a decision, either on navigation or whatever. So many things are happening over there. The buck is stopping with you. So you have to learn to take decisions. You go out and you meet people, all kinds of people, and invariably you will find that people are not bad, mostly. Okay, it humbles you at certain places. Yeah, a chai wala, or you're sitting in a dhaba and some strangers starts talking to you, and maybe he likes your smile or whatever, but he offers you the chai free of cost. The dhaba wala says, "Saab, aap raat ko yahan so sakte ho," you know. So you realize that people are not bad. It's how you work at them. So you stop being judgmental about people. That's another very important aspect that comes out. You stop, you don't get rattled very easily by things happening on your day-to-day life. In your work front, ye nahi hua, wo nahi hua. So getting hassled about it. So what happens? You get aware, you assess, okay, plan your move ahead. So like in riding, okay, you have a problem, you sort it out, and you have to move because you can't hold back there. Okay. So the whole thing is that you find solutions to every problem. So the other important thing that I have learned over the years is that every problem comes with a solution. We need to only find the solution. So I have used this in my day-to-day life also. If I have a problem, I say, sure, there's a solution to it. I only have to find it. So that is another very important aspect. If I'm walking on the streets today and the traffic, it doesn't hassle me anymore. Okay. Because you take it in the stride. You learn to let go certain things. Okay. Which is not going to help you otherwise. So things like decision making, things like not getting rattled at small things. If there's a problem, you're damn sure that, okay, you are going to get a solution to it, because you have to have that confidence in yourself. Okay. So these are the aspects which help you during the ride. The other important thing, as I said, while riding, you get into that meditative mode, you get rewired. When I use that word rewired, it could be a very simple thing. I mean, let me be personal here. Okay. As long as the sons are dependent on you and they're studying and everything, you are the boss, you are the dada. They better do what you tell them to do. Now, once they are married, they are earning, they have their wives, they have their own value systems. Okay. You cannot have the same equation going with your children at that point of time. You have to learn to let go. Now, initially, I was having problems, because I said, ye kyun ho raha hai, ye kyun ho raha hai, wo kyun ho raha hai. Now, one of the rides, that was one of the introspections that I was into, like, how do I improve on my relationships? Then I realized, okay, after a certain age, you must learn to let go certain things. And once I let go, harmony came back, everything was happy. So what's happening? I'm getting rewired, right? So similarly, you have other relationships which you can be working on. So when you come back, you implement that.
व्हेन इज व्हेन इज इट लाइक, या फिर पास्ट में आपको कभी ऐसा लगा हो कि अब मुझे फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता यार, मेरे इधर से स्मेल आ रही है कि मैं थक चुका हूँ, वो एज आप बता पाओगे?
इनफैक्ट द अदर वे अराउंड, मैं थक गया हूँ, धूल काफी खा चुका हूँ, उससे थकान और लगती है. सो द फर्स्ट थिंग यू वांट इज, जब हम पहुंचे कहीं, बस नहा लो. मोमेंट यू टेक अ बाथ, ऑल दैट फ्रेशनेस कम्स बैक. नाउ देयर आर टू थिंग्स. वन इज कि अगर हम रईसी में चल रहे हैं, तो होटल में गए, होटल में अपना मिल गया रहने के लिए, नहाने के लिए. But that's not every time. In fact, now at this age, I look for hotels. But earlier on, a hotel was never a criteria कि होटल में ही जाके हमने रहना है. Okay. With the time when you would carry your mattress, you would carry your little one man, two man tent also. तो जहाँ एक अच्छा पेट्रोल पंप दिखा, उसके बगल में अच्छा ढाबा दिखा, इनवेरिएबली वहाँ में कुआं भी होगा. ओके. तो वो पेट्रोल पंप में कहीं चबूतरा मिल जाएगा मेरे को अपना बिछाने के लिए, और टेंट. एवरी पेट्रोल पंप टुडे हैज गुड टॉयलेट्स आल्सो, तो वो भी मुझे मिल जाता है, खाने को मिल जाता है. सुबह नहा लिया अपने वहाँ पे ढाबे के कुएं में. बट अगर रात को पहुंचे, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि उस समय भी नहा के ही सोया जाए, नॉट कि गंदे हो गए वटेवर. गंदे हो गए खेल चलते समय, That's not a criteria. You don't bother about it. That's part of the deal. You take it as part of it. But you have to get back into your old form. The नहाओगे, fresh हो जाओगे. So hygiene is very important from every angle.
ये तो अभी के टाइम हो गया बट पुराने आप कह रहे हो कि यू बीन राइडिंग सिंस 1960s उस टाइम पे तो मेरे ख्याल है उतने पेट्रोल पंप भी नहीं हुआ
नहीं,
करते
उस समय
थे
तो उतने खैर लंबे राइड्स भी नहीं मारता था. My rides used to be much
बट आई वाज
shorter.
गोइंग थ्रू योर स्टैट्स यू से यू हैड डन अ राइड इन ले इन
That was in
70
78.
yes and then you had done again a trip on Ladakh also
That same Leh Ladakh trip was done in
and then you had done
78.
a trip with Bhutan also
Yes.
and that is like years back
77, 78 period, particularly when I'm talking about the Leh Ladakh trip, it was a challenge. Surely was a challenge. In the sense, Ladakh had just opened up for tourism for by the Indian government. Otherwise, till 74, they did not allow any civilians to go there. It's only after 74 that civilians were allowed to move in. So tourism had yet not picked up. There were no hotels as such to stay. The government had only blasted their way through those hills and mountains so that the army trucks could reach those points. So there was no tarmac. Okay. There were enough landslides that would happen at any time. There were enough streams that were flowing. There were no bridges over those streams. So the first thing is when you rode out, today, I think on day two, one can easily get to Leh. But it took me 4 days. In fact, the fifth day I reached. Because I couldn't do more than 30, 40, 45, 50 kilometers per day. That was one.
and which bike was it
I was on a Yazdi.
okay
And why I couldn't do it more? Because of the water, the streams. You see, after a certain time in the day when the ice melts, then the level of the water goes up. So, and you're not geared that way to be floating through the water today. In fact, talking about gear, you have all kinds of equipment and gears today to be riding in those conditions. I remember when I had to do it, I only had my mother's hand knitted mittens. और ज़्यादा ठंड लग गई तो look for surgical gloves. That's it. As far as the other clothes are concerned, I mean, it was very cold. I had a pajama inside. I had my Levi's jeans outside. और ठंड लग गई तो रेनकोट पहन दिया उसके ऊपर. Beyond that, there was nothing else. There are no dhabas on the way. There were no restaurants on the way. There are no petrol pumps on the way. I had to carry my own fuel too. Now, staying was homestays. People around, as I said, are always very welcoming. You be nice to them, they'll be nice to you. And obviously, everybody looks for money also. So अगर पैसे दोगे तो रात को सोना हो वो सुला भी देते हैं. So I had 2 occasions where I could sleep, in people's homes. Okay. It was the 5th day that I reached. Again, staying in Ladakh was a homestay. Because hotels and all hadn't come up at that time. So riding to Ladakh then was a totally different ballgame. Riding to Ladakh today, I would say, is a cheese walk, okay, cheesecake. Okay, because almost you have tarmac all the way, you have enough infrastructure all the way, and you have thousands of people going. If anything happens to you, there's somebody coming from behind. Either when I went, there was nobody in front of me or behind me. It was a 1-hour JMK bus that would be taking you through the day, and you'd probably cross one or two of them. Other than that, I was only crossing military vehicles.
so how was the military guys ki
Oh,
randomly civilians
the military guys are very, very, very accommodating. Chai bhi pila rahe the. They would wave you off also. In fact, one place I needed petrol, they gave me petrol also.
आप उन पेरेंट्स को क्या बोलेंगे जो अपने बच्चों को अलाउ नहीं करते हैं राइडिंग कहते कि इट्स ऑल अबाउट डेंजर है एक्सीडेंट हो जाएगा चोट लग जाएगी
Their parents are right. But then one very important factor is कि आप जब तक अपने बच्चे को छूट नहीं दोगे, जब तक आप अपने बच्चे को उभरने नहीं दोगे ऑन देयर हाउ दे वांट इन लाइफ, आप कब तक गवर्न करोगे? पहली बात. दूसरी बात, वही लड़का बाद में जब करने लगेगा, आई बिलीव दैट ही इज गोइंग टू बी अ मोर रैश ड्राइवर. जितने जल्दी अपने बच्चों को आप अलाउ करोगे, उतने जल्दी वो सहम के राइड करना शुरू करेंगे, उतने वो सेफ राइड करना शुरू करेंगे। अब मैं आपको बताऊँ, ये एक्सीडेंट होना या कुछ भी होना, ये तो कुदरती है। आई फर्मली बिलीव इन डेस्टिनी। सो इट्स ऑल अ क्वेश्चन ऑफ डेस्टिनी। होना होगा तो होगा, नहीं होना होगा तो नहीं होगा। तो you leave that to God. Parents should start becoming God. And then the other important thing is also that the children should also show their maturity. When I say parents, if they see that the child behaves maturely, acts rationally, please allow him to do what he has to do. Don't stop him. But if the child is irrational, he has that pep of doing things and overdoing things, then I'm sure the parents know the child better and they should not allow him. So it's all a question of काली दोहत से बजने वाली बात।
शेयर अ स्टोरी और रैंडम एक्ट आपकी इतने सारे सालों की राइडिंग जर्नी आपकी है रैंडम एक्ट ऑफ काइंडनेस अपार्ट फ्रॉम जो कि किसी ने बोल दिया चाय पी लीजिए आइए सो जाइए
Somebody gave me a scooter and I had it for about 6 months. तो मेरे को चस्का चाहिए, चलो श्रीनगर घूम के आते हैं फ्रॉम चंडीगढ़। कॉलेज स्टूडेंट, पैसे तो है नहीं। 400-500 kilometers this must be, I forget now. I took fuel, put it in a small jerry cans and put it in the dicky of the scooter for safety. But what I did was I put in 2 liters of fuel and I rode out of town. And those days you did not have so many petrol pumps one after the other.
दिस इज इन विच ईयर
This is in 76.
ओके
And fuel cost was something like, I think, 2 रुपए या 2.5 रुपए per liter होता था. It wasn't very expensive. So, गाड़ी रोक के give my sob story to somebody. तो वो अच्छा बच्चा ले लो. तो and I knew about cars and bikes very well. So अगर फ्यूल के लिए वो ट्यूब, सर अंकल आप रुक जाइए 1 मिनट, बॉनेट खोलिए, मैं कार्बोरेटर से निकाल लूंगा. तो करते कम से कम 2-3 लीटर निकल गया, ले लिया. वो 2-3 लीटर डालना, उतना ही चलना और फिर रुक जाना. Okay. It took me 3 days to get to Srinagar and something like about 15 people giving me fuel. The other one is on a serious note. This was 7, 8, 9 years back, not too long back. So I had 2 Enfields with me at home, one myself and one his elder brother's. I said, Chal beta, let me take you out and give you a good induction into ridings. After he had ridden and changed gears, it's raining, sloshy, and as things would have it, his bike got a puncture. Now, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the jungles, sloshy. In fact, मैं गिरा एक बार बाइक से स्किड करके, वो नहीं गिरा, ओके, बट पंचर हो गया. अब जब हम चक्का पाना खोलने गए, दैट नट इज स्लिपिंग. नाउ आई गॉट डेस्परेट, अब क्या करें? वी आर इन द मिडल ऑफ नोवेयर, इट्स ऑल जंगल, इट्स रेनिंग and this nut is slipping and there's no way I can do anything about it. Out of nowhere, a person in green fatigues just drops by next to me, looks at us, asks us who we are, and disappears. Comes back in 5 minutes with a big monkey wrench. He helps open that wheel and he tells us, अब वो पगडंडी रास्ता ले लो, आधा घंटा में आपको पंचर दुकान मिल जाएगा. Fine. So we went, left this bike here in the middle of nowhere, went, came back. This guy was still sitting next to the bike. Okay. While I was fixing the wheel, this guy again disappeared and in 5 minutes again came back with tea. हमको चाय भी पिलाया. After it was over, then he says, आप एक काम करो, अब शाम होने लगा, अब ये वाला पगडंडी लेके निकल जाओ और आपने कुछ नहीं देखा. So we started riding that way. As would have it, that was a Maowadi camp. And we had ridden right into the Maowadi camp. I told my son, don't look left or right. Just keep moving.
ओके यू गॉट टू नो दिस देयर
I got to know it as I rode into that place. This guy was a Maowadi
ओके
who was helping me out. He found that, okay, there are 2 father and son, 2 jokers who come in the middle of nowhere with no objective. Okay, they must be stupid guys, so they're not harmful to them. So out of the blues, a person comes and helps me, gives me chai, helps me open the wheel, fix it up. I would not have been able to get out of that place had this man not just, come. I can never forget him in my whole life, and neither can my son.
आई विल टेक इट एज अ ह्यूमन साइड ऑफ राइडिंग
Absolutely. So I would say don't be judgmental about people.
A unique gift which you thought road has offered?
It's offered me so many things. It has offered me resilience. It has offered me more confidence in myself. It tells me, okay, that there's nothing that is not possible. Everything can be done. It has helped me rewire my relationships with people. It has helped me rewire my businesses. Because every time I go out, I do my planning and my thinking. So it has helped me in many ways. It has made a man out of me, I would say. It has, as I say, it has rewired me in many ways. And every time I ride out, there is some form of improvement. There's some change in me.
A sad story you would like to share from all the years? Like, okay, this is something which has stayed with me throughout.
A very gory story
Yeah,
or a scary story.
both of them. Both of them.
Gory story was once I was riding back from my college to home. I was riding fast, but there was these 3 Fiats which were driving faster than me. They must be going over 100 plus. And you have these women folk who are sitting by the side of the road and, drying their dhan and whatever. So one of the last vehicle hit the dhan, probably lost control and started skidding. And there were these 7, 8 women who were sitting on the road. So one by one, like a flea, tuck, 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 it kept hitting all of them. All were flying into the field, spot dead. This car lost control, also went into the thing. Villagers started coming, running in. Okay, panic. I'm following from behind. Now these guys left that car and they ran. They clung on to the other 2 Fiats, which was running ahead, and they disappeared. Now this entire lot, their focus was on me because I was another stranger was coming on my. I also had to get off the highway onto the Khet, right through the Khet, getting chased by these guys, finally hitting the highway, and then I reached home. So that was a very gory incident. I saw 6 or 7 of these women, going like flies. Okay, bad driving, irresponsible driving, whatever. But yes, the other was there was a time once I was in Srinagar and I borrowed my cousin's Royal Enfield. और मैं ऐसे ही निकल गया आगे towards POK side, but the Indian side. और मैं ऐसे डिस्कवर करने के लिए दैट एक्सप्लोरेटरी काइंड ऑफ थिंग दैट इज देयर इन मी नई जगह नई देखो तो उसमें ऐसा हुआ कि अचानक मेरे को सुर चढ़ा कि व्हाई डोंट आई टेक दीज पुनी रूट्स सो आई मूव्ड अवे फ्रॉम द मेन स्ट्रीम रोड्स एंड देयर आर दीज पोनी ट्रेल्स एंड यू हैव इनफ ऑफ दीज पोनी ट्रेल्स so I took one of the pony trails and I started moving into that from one pony trail to another pony trail. So from one mountain face to the other mountain face, not realizing that in the mountains you lose your sense of direction, which is east, which is west, north, south, पता नहीं चलता after a certain point in time. ऊपर भी आप sun भी देखो तो the sun is above you. You really don't know कि मैंने इधर जाना है या इधर जाना है इधर जाना है इधर जाना. So after a point in time, I realized that I'm lost in the middle of the mountains, very close to the Pakistan-India border, and I can hear AK guns. The army once in a while, they would just shoot off some golas this side, they would shoot off some golas from their end. So you kept hearing AK guns all the time. So I knew I'm near the border, but where I am, I don't know. How do I get back to civilization? I don't know. Now it's getting evening. In fact, it's got evening. Thankfully, Kashmir has got a lot of twilight. So it doesn't get dark till very late, or in fact, till even 12 o'clock in the night. So there was enough light, but it was getting evening. Okay. And the other important thing, I was running low on fuel now. And a heavy bike like an Enfield, if you're in the mountain pony trails, you can't push it around. No way you can push it and take it anywhere. So now the fear factor started coming on me. अब क्या करूँगा? अब fear ये था कि fuel खत्म हो जाए तो क्या करूँगा? Fear ये था कि मैं चलूँ तो किस direction में जाऊँ? Am I moving away from India into Pakistan, or am I within my country and still moving away more into the depths of the hills? I don't know. So that's when I said, hold on, buddy. So I put the engine off. I sat down, relaxed. Then it kept the bike in one place, took some pointers ki okay यहाँ पे bike है, ये निशानी है, and I started taking a stroll. As I took a stroll, after a certain while, I realized that I could hear army trucks moving. Because of my bike's noise, I could not be hearing them. Once I put it off and I took a stroll, I could find that there were some trucks moving. So I started trying to figure out where is this noise coming from. So ultimately, I could get to the direction of the noise, and I spotted the highway. That was a saving grace. Now, how do I get to that highway? ये तो मैं पैदल चल के गया. I had to come back and take my bike. That was the other fear. So I decided to leave the bike there. I walked down up to the road. Okay, I said, let me find somebody here. I mean, any local. I found a local. I explained to him what my problem was. He came back to the bike. Okay, now he guided me through some pony routes onto that place, and I could therefore get back home. But that was the scariest part because I didn't know what's going to happen to me next. Am I going to walk into Pakistan? Am I going to lose my bike here? Or what's going to happen? So that was one very scary incident in my life.
Wow. I was talking to a couple of these riding groups or clubs, what you call them. There's a lot of commercialization happening in them. So they ask you if you want to be a part of this certain group, you have to pay a certain fees. So, and 3 monthly, 4 monthly, you have to renew your membership. Yeah, yearly, you'll have to once a year renew your membership. So, don't you think it is more about making money through that group?
From whatever I know, most clubs in the country do not take any fees from their members. Yes, they charge something only when, say, club t-shirts need to be bought or something has to, um be bought for the club for everybody's use. So then वो चंदा किया जाता है. But other than that, giving a monthly or an annual subscription, I think that is not correct. Because at the end of the day, when you go for your ride, it's your time, your money, your ass. But yes, I would say that commercialization is happening in another way. A lot of these guys today I found that organizing a riders meet is a money making racket. So today you have dime a dozen riders meets happening all over the country.
I was coming to that point जहाँ पे जो आपने बात कही कि उसके एक-एक टिकट इज़ 10,000 bucks, 8,000 bucks, 12,000 bucks
Yes,
and और उसके स्पॉन्सरशिप्स भी मिलती हैं
yes,
एंड द हेड
it's big money.
वेरी वेरी
In
बिग
fact,
मनी.
I've just come back from a ride. I just did a 5,000-kilometer ride 2 weeks back. It started off with my going to a place near between Rishikesh and Hardwar in Rajaji Forest, where you had the riders meet from an organization called BOBNC, Brotherhood of Bulleteers Motorcycling Consortium. This is the oldest group in the country which organizes a riders meet once a year. It started with some 40-50 guys. Today there are more than 3,000 people attending it. Okay. And the fees are varying from 15,000 rupees to 6,000 rupees, depending on the accommodation that you're taking. But then, yes, there is a lot of expenditure there in the sense. If 3,000 people have to be fed and in an out of the way place, okay, you need a whole infrastructure to make it happen. Then there's a whole lot of entertainment that is happening over
Yes,
there.
I was coming to
And
that
big
part.
time entertainment company. Like, for example, this year you had Indian Ocean coming and playing over there. And equivalent of Indian Ocean because it's a 3-night, 4-day affair. Okay. So there are huge expenditures. I've never got into that. But that particular riders meet is organized in a very professional manner and it's growing every year, more from the brotherhood point of view than somebody trying to make money. No. Money must be getting made incidentally. But that is one such. The others that I see, there are so many of them, invariably all of them are a money-making racket. Because if the infrastructures are poor, the food quality is not so good, okay? You have almost no management, so to say. Okay, they just have gathered guys and पैसा ले लिया, अब भगवान भरोसे. So that is, I would say, commercialization. Other than that, organizing a event like the what BNC does for the riders meet, there you have official sponsors who are helping out organize that very large event. But for the smaller events, you don't have many sponsors because they all know now that it's one big racket. So it is for the individual clubs to how much of a fool they can make of the other riders around them.
मैंने जगह पढ़ी और मेरी टीम ने भी बताया कि जब राइडर्स जाते हैं तो जो एक हेड होता है वो उनको डेफ़िनेटली रेस्टोरेंट्स वगैरह से कट मिलता है जब वो रेस्टोरेंट्स में जाते हैं और
I'm
ने
not aware of this.
होटल्स में भी जाते हैं
I'm
तो
not aware of this. No. I mean, it may be very to a particular club or particular place, some particular situation, but otherwise, generally, no.
ओके,
If it's a genuine riding club, a genuine rider is going to be the head of that club. The characteristic of a genuine rider is not of a person who frauds. He will never have leadership qualities. He'll never have a band of riders who are with him all the time. So that club can never exist after a certain point in time. So this, I don't think so, is very true. Club presidents, no, they're not out to make money. It may be one odd person who must have one particular kind of a click with some particular restaurant or dhaba, but that might have been the case.
देयर इज़ अ हायरार्की सिस्टम इन द क्लब कि अगर हम राइड पे निकल रहे हैं तो प्रेसिडेंट होगा, एक सेक्रेटरी होगा, फिर उसका एक बाइक का मैनेजर होगा, ग्रुप मैनेजर होगा, तो जो पीछे होगा वो आगे नहीं आ सकता, जो हेड होगा वही आगे चलेगा, वो ऐसा
There's nothing like a hierarchy as such, but yes, there's a certain discipline that needs to be maintained when you're riding. You cannot have people riding erratically because then accidents can happen. And when you're going in a larger group, you also have to be very clear that there is other traffic that is flowing along with you. So you cannot disturb that traffic. So, first thing that you have to be going in a formation. That's very important. Now, it's not necessary that the leader or the president of the club has to be the lead guy. No, it doesn't have to be. But yes, you have to have certain designated guys who have a certain role to play.
Hmm.
For example, there will be a logistics team, okay, who has to ensure that food has to be given to all of these guys. They will be running ahead of the team, okay. Depending on the size of the group, they will break the group into different numbers so that everybody can be catered to in the different dhabas. Just imagine if there are 100 guys walking into one dhaba, okay, unplanned. I mean, neither will they get the food nor will they ever be able to ride in time. So this planning is required. Second thing is the weaker ones and the younger riders are always kept in the middle and ensure that they don't overtake anybody. So therefore that discipline ki ek ke piche ek chale.
बीकर से मतलब
A new rider,
ओके,
okay, we consider him as a weak rider. He is not yet matured. Okay, young riders, okay, or a very old rider. You even have 75, 80-year-old riders going. Then you have what is called a sweeper. That the guy who is considered good, dependable, and also knows about bikes, he'll be the last guy. वो झाड़ू मारते आ रहा है पीछे से, ensuring that nobody is left behind. So there is a certain norm. Okay. Then there is sign systems within your groups, okay, which is gives an indication to every rider before there's an obstacle or something or any problem. Okay. So I would say there is a certain discipline that needs to be maintained. And for that discipline, you have to have a hierarchy of people who ensure that that is happening. But other than that, it is not a norm that the president must ride first and he must be catered first or something. No, that is not true. If that is happening, I'm very sure that club is not going to last too long.
from a person who's been riding for more than 50 odd years plus, a piece of advice you would give to new riders or who is pursuing कि आप riding journey अपनी start कर रहे हैं?
तो मेरा एक वो स्लोगन है ना, जो मैं हमेशा दोहराते रहता हूँ, लिव टू डू इट अगेन. दैट इज समथिंग which is very important. If you're getting into this ride, you must ride over and over again. But then there are two aspects to that. One thing is you have to survive to do it, and the other is the social front part of it. So let's talk about the survival part. So, first thing, if you want to be a good rider, you must learn to respect your machine. You must learn to respect the surroundings around you. You must have empathy so that wherever you go, you're able to read people, understand their needs, understand their culture. Okay? It's very important. Otherwise, if you're a misfit, you'll end up with some trouble. You must know your machine well, okay? Because you have to be absolutely self-reliant. There's nobody who can help you. You will slowly learn to start taking decisions on your own. Maybe not the first time, and you don't take the correct decision the first time, but with experience, you learn to do that. As you become a regular rider, then you get into a state where you start doing introspecting on yourself. That makes you a better person at the end of it. The social part of it is you have a family, you have your parents. वो चिंता में हमेशा रहते हैं. आप जब निकल जाते हो, तो उस चिंता को दूर करने का एक ही तरीका है, that you have to at all times behave very rationally. They must believe in you that you are a rational person and you will not do anything stupid, so that you can come back home safe. Moment that trust is lost, if anything happens to you, then I'm very sure your family will not allow you to go out again. And your dreams of wanting to continue to do it will not happen. So it's very important that you maintain your rationality at all times. Now, when you're talking about maintaining rationality, it also means that you are also taking care of your surroundings around you, people around you. Okay. So that is another very important aspect, that when you're on a ride, okay, if you are with some other people around, you have to be able to accommodate those people. If you're going alone, then it's a matter of your own survival. Then in that case, you have to be looking for goodness from other people. And for goodness from other people, one very important thing is you cannot lose your humility. So you have to be humble. You have to know the machine. You have to be a rational person and build trust with people.
Piece of advice, especially for female riders, apart from what you have given, especially to female riders who want to start their journey or who are doing already on the journey, a piece of advice.
I know of a few ladies who have been riding, and some of them have been riding out of vengeance. When I say vengeance, they are out to prove a point that India is a very safe place to ride alone. I don't believe that, because as far as ladies are concerned, there are still enough uneducated, uncouth people around who can do anything. So I will not advise a lady to be going out alone for a solo ride anywhere unless she knows the terrain well and she has enough experience behind her. Other than that, yes, they should come out. In fact, a lot of girls are coming out today. When I talk about this BOBMC Rider Mania, out of the 3,000 people who were there were at least 600 to 700 ladies who were participating. So today you do see a lot of ladies coming in, but then they are accompanied by a group, not coming out alone.
With this, I come to an end. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And I wish a lot more people can benefit from this. Thank you.